hören Sie unseren ersten Preisträger des Carl-Theodor-Preises der Metropolregion Rhein-Neckar, Herrn Prof. Muhammad Yunus. Sein Vortrag hält den Titel Redesign Economics to Redesign the World. Im übertragenen Sinne heißt es, die Wirtschaft so zu verändern und zu gestalten, dass daraus eben auch eine neue Welt entstehen kann. Der Vortrag wird auf Englisch sein. Herzlich willkommen auf unserer Bühne. Sie können jetzt gerne zu uns kommen. Herr Professor Muhammad Yunus, Ihre Bühne.
You can see that I'm speechless. I'm really overwhelmed by the honor that you give me this evening. And thank you, SAP Symphony, for wonderful music. And I see this honor as the love and support that I have been receiving from Germany ever since we began our work in Bangladesh. Germany has been one of the first countries which came forward with an enormous amount of support for us. And ever since, I made so many friends here. And everything I have done, I saw total support behind it. And particularly this region, metropolitan region, Rhine and Neckar. And in your speech, you have mentioned Dr. Hambrecht, again, another person who has extended fullest support to my ideas and the work that I do. I didn't expect anybody to really go ahead and extend the support in the way I have received it from Germany. I was amazed when Dr. Hambrecht, when he was holding his top management conference, bringing all the top management people in one place and talking about the company policies and so on. He made sure before all the persons, all the executives come to the meeting place, they should read my book. So he sent books to everybody. I don't know whether they read it or not, but it was a compulsory reading before they come in. And on top of it, then I was invited to address them. And I couldn't come to Germany at that time. I was in Bangladesh. So all the technical things were organized so that I can have the biggest screen, seeing them, so talking to them. And I felt very awkward that here I am meeting all those business people interested in our work, genuinely interested. I was very surprised that many of them read the book and started discussion. And then took the next step. He extended to create a social business with us, and out of which we created Grameen BSF company, social business company, to produce mosquito nets because of the treated mosquito nets. Bangladesh is a malaria country. So we thought this would be a good thing if we can produce mosquito net as cheap as possible so that people can buy it and use it. So this is one of the earlier joint ventures with the large companies like BSF that we did, and it inspired many other companies to come forward to do joint venture with us. Today, you invited me to say a few words on our education, and already mention has been done with all the work that we have done. I'll just briefly mention some of the things, not because I'm an educationist, a specialist, or anything. If you want to look at me from the education side, I will say I'm a fugitive from the academic world. I ran away from the academic world. I was a teacher. And that's what I was doing. I'm enjoying my work as a teacher. I used to teach economics in the university. But the circumstances pushed me out of the university. I felt what I teach is totally meaningless. It has no meaning to the people who live outside the classroom. Because this was a famine situation in Bangladesh in 1974, if you remember. Hundreds of thousands of people died of hunger in a famine. So here you are, the beautiful campus, teach economics, elegant theories of economics, and you come out of the classroom and you see dying people. Not by disease, you can explain if they die with disease, but this is just not being able to eat a little bit. Not just few. You see them everywhere. Dying people all over the place. Then I question, what do I teach? Is it anything worth it? It may be very elegant, but has nothing to do with people's lives. I literally walked away from it. I said, well, I want to see if I can make myself useful to another human being. Now I feel I'm totally useless. It has no meaning. So in order to discover anything worth in me, I thought of walking out of the campus and be in the village, see if I can do something each day to one single person. Not as an economist, as a human being. So I started doing that. And then it took me step by step on many things. I saw things much more clearly with people than I ever learned in my textbooks. When I saw that things can be done in a way you don't have to be expert on that. And I started lending money to protect people from the loan sharks. Because the exploitation was so enormous in the village, lending tiny money and grab everything that the poor people have. And it worried me, because I see it every day. Then the idea came, why don't I lend the money myself? If I lend the money, people who will take the money from me, they don't have to go to loan shark. The problem is solved. I don't have to research project on that. I don't have to write a book about it. I just do it. And I started doing that. And it became very popular. Everybody wanted to borrow from me. And I was very happy that they wanted to, because I thought now I'm being useful to them. And that was the beginning of later on what became the Grameen Bank. I created a whole bank because the bank will not cooperate with me. They will not lend money to the poor people. Initially, I tried to offer myself as a guarantor. I said, I'll be your guarantor, you give the money. If they don't pay back, because they are always saying that they will never pay back, I said, if any one of them didn't pay back, I'll pay back. If none of them pay back, I'll pay back the entire money. It took months and months to make them convince even on that. And finally, they agreed because I'm running out of my money. So I didn't have enough money to continue for months out of my own pocket. So I wanted to bring the money from the bank. And I could bring the money by being a guarantor. So I created a bank later on because the banks were not cooperating as much as I wanted to. And that became known as Grameen Bank. That became known as microcredit, microfinance. Today, that bank has 8.5 million borrowers, and mostly women. 97% of our borrowers are women. Annually, we lend out today over $2.5 billion in tiny loans. Every penny is paid back. And the bank is owned by the borrowers. That's how we structure it. So that this bank, not only which lends money to poor people, is also owned by the borrowers themselves. So they sit in the board, they make the decision. It is by far the best bank in the world. And working with the poor people, working with poor women, I continuously see the problems they face every day. And I cannot walk away from this. It's not, I didn't start microcredit because I love credit and so nothing. Just I saw how it's been exploited, people. So I thought this is one way. Then I saw people suffer many other things. Healthcare is a major issue. So I got involved in healthcare. Many things we have done on healthcare. And then I saw all of these women, millions of these women, are totally illiterate. Cannot read, cannot write. Never seen anything in print. So when we were small, still about a couple of thousand borrowers and so on, I see that they're illiterate. So one of the things we thought maybe we should help them to at least write their own name so that they feel they can do something. They never held a pencil or a pen in their hand, and there was no pencil or a pen for them. So they took a stick. They will always take a stick from the tree or from bamboo or something, and draw a picture-like thing, the name that we just first draw it out, and they'll just go on repeating it so that they will learn how to write the simplest part of the name. So that was the beginning. And there would be such a shock they will have when she draws something and somebody say, you are Saleha. She's surprised. How did she know that? How did she know that I'm Saleha? This thing made something. They couldn't believe that whatever scribble they made turned out to be her name. And she can write that. Sensation. They never use paper. They don't have paper. So now after she can do it, she'll collect a piece of paper and a little piece of pencil so that she can show that she's a literate person now. Take pride that she's a literate person. That pride was very important for them. Feel that they are somebody. They are not just worthless people. They can now read, they can write, and also use the money to generate business for them. They can take care of themselves. One of the early decisions we took, that this generation of women that we are working with are illiterate, but we shouldn't do the mistake allowing the next generation, the children, to repeat the same thing. Because for generations, literacy never entered in these families. And I kept saying to my colleagues in the bank, this will be the last generation who will be illiterate, but we'll try to help them to learn a little bit. But we focus on the second generation. They will be totally literate, even educated. So how do we do that? We had a power. We had a bank now. We introduced education loan. Primary education is free, so we didn't have to worry about money. Free books, free everything, so they didn't have to spend money. High school education is free, so we didn't have to worry about high school education. They were continued in high school easily. But when you come to college, you spend money because it's not free anymore. Lots of expenses coming in. So we said, don't worry, you continue as far as you can go. Bank is behind you. All the money you need, bank will provide you as education loan. This bank is your mother's bank. So there's nothing to worry about it. You will make sure you have the best education as far as possible. They took it, thousands and thousands of them. And I was amazed how the graduation came, how the master's degree came. I was surprised PhDs coming. Now I meet people when I'm traveling in the country, in other countries like in Germany or USA or Japan. Someone in the university will quietly come in and say, let me introduce myself. I'm a son of a Grameen Bank borrower. I'm a professor here. So it's a strange thing, what you can do from one level to in one generation where you can go. When I visit villages to meet them, now what they're doing, I see a woman working. She's very excited that I'm in this village and I'm visiting her house. And I see a younger person with her. The younger person and the borrower both look alike. One is older, one is younger, and you can immediately know she's the daughter. They're so much alike. Then I asked the girl, are you helping your mother? Are you happy with your work you do? She says, I wish I could help my mother, but I don't live here. I said, where do you live? He said, I'm leaving this such and such city. So what do you do there? He said, I'm a medical doctor. You gave me the education loan. I went to medical school. I'm a medical doctor. I heard that you are visiting our village, so I wanted to meet you because I never met you. I never saw you. I see your picture, but I never saw you physically, so I came to meet you here. So you look again, the mother and the daughter. They look alike. And one is a medical doctor, and it is totally illiterate. And immediately question comes to my mind. Her mother could have been a doctor too. There's nothing wrong in her mother. She has all the capabilities as her daughter, but she never learned even to the basic alphabets. Is it her fault? No. It's the fault of a system which produced that. How come the daughter became a medical doctor? All we did, created a bank. It's not a charity organization. Bank lends money, bank recovers the money, recovers all the costs, it creates surplus, it makes profit, profits goes back to the borrowers. It's a system. So you create something, suddenly things turn around completely. Out of nothing, now people get educated, people get things done, and so on. So that gives me a creepy sense. What is poverty? And suddenly I realized poverty is not about people. Poverty is not created by the poor people. It's not their fault. Poverty is created by the system we created, not by the people themselves. They're as good people as anybody else anywhere in the world, as creative, as loving, as cooperative, as anything you can think of. But system never gave them a chance because they denied those institutions. Grameen Bank is a single institution which is owned by the poor people, lends to poor people, and so on and so forth. Why can't there be so many other banks like that? We're not asking for shut down something. We're saying you get another, just a permission, that's all. That doesn't exist in the world right now. And I've been screaming about it. Why don't you create bank for the poor? Because all the banks that exist in the world are actually bank for the rich. And there's no access. Half the population of the world have no access to those institutions. And then we say, why are you poor? We help you. We don't help. Create institutions, create policies. That will solve the problem. So we started doing this. We see problems, we make attempts to solve that. And every time I see a problem, I create a business to solve it. That became a habit with me. So whenever I see a problem, I think what kind of business I can do to solve this problem. I created a series of problems. In my introduction, you have mentioned some of these businesses I created. Telephone company, you believe? A telephone company? We created that. It's the largest telephone company in Bangladesh. There are 6 telephone companies, and Grameen Phone is the largest. It commands more than half the market in Bangladesh. We created a solar energy company out of nothing, an idea, because there's no electricity. So we created, forget about electricity by the grid, it will never come. Why don't we just go ahead and start selling solar system? In the beginning, people say, wow, why should we pay for it? Then we explained, whatever money you spend for kerosene, just give it to me every month, and I give you the system. For 3 years, you continuously pay the money that you spend on kerosene. You don't have to spend on kerosene because you have a clean energy, and people love it. They don't have to pay anything extra. And now have millions and millions of houses with electricity. So it doesn't need something earth-shattering. Very simple idea. People respond to it. You create that. So we create all these companies, more than 50 companies I created in Bangladesh. And people say, what kind of company is this? Why are you doing that? I said, if you're not making money, I said, I don't make money out of this. If you're not making money, why do you do that? I said, because it solves problems. So I started saying this. So these are the companies I make, which I call them problem-solving companies. So it has its own nature. The companies that we usually have is money-making companies. You make money personally. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not objecting to it. I said there could be another kind of business to solve problems, without having any intention of personally making profit out of it. Company makes profit, you keep the profit with the company, plow it back. And it grows. It has its own organic growth. Investor can take back the investment money, nothing more than that. By decision, not that somebody imposed it. I don't want to take any more money after I have taken back whatever money I invested. And I started calling them by a particular name so that people understand. I call them social business. And define it by saying non-dividend company to solve human problems. Now, this idea is spreading. Many countries are involving. Big companies having joint ventures. Dr. Humbrecht is one. Dr. Otto wanted to do it in Bangladesh. Now he's doing it in India. Same idea, social business. Veolia, we have water company. Water is a big problem all over the world. I said, why do we have to wait for the government to do everything? We citizens are creative enough to do that. And let government do too. I'm not stopping them, but in the meantime, let's move on, do it. So we created water company, joint venture with Veolia. We have joint ventures with Danone. Malnutrition is a rampant problem with the children of Bangladesh. Half the children of Bangladesh are malnourished. So we create a very special yogurt, put all the micronutrients into that yogurt, make it very cheap, make it very delicious. Children love the taste, and sell them, and they love it, and they overcome their malnutrition problem. So it becomes self-sustaining company, but nobody wants to make profit out of it, personally. Company makes profit, profit stays within the company. So that idea of social business continued, and we made one after another. We created a nursing college. Bangladesh has a very funny situation. We don't have many nurses. We don't have many doctors. But the ratio between doctor and nurse is very strange. We have 3 doctors per nurse, meaning that there is no nurse. Not that we have too many doctors. No, we have very short of doctors. But the nurses are fewer. It's very strange. People are without jobs, but you're not producing nurses. So what we did, we created nursing college to train up the girls from the Grameen families, poor families, to come and give the education loan by Grameen Bank and train them into good nurses. We have a joint venture with Glasgow Caledonian University from Scotland. It's a beautiful school created out of in our office. Now they are producing world-class nurses. And every hospital just wait around to hire the whole class because there isn't anybody as a nurse in Bangladesh. So if now I can now produce 100 per year or something. Why don't we produce 1,000 per year? Because there's plenty of room for everybody. So why don't we add more and more nursing colleges? So first one is coming to break-even point next year or following year. So we want to build up another nursing college. That's a social business. It covers all its costs by itself. So those are the ideas. Now education, but nursing. We created auto mechanic school to train young people to become auto mechanic. Bangladesh imports a lot of used cars from Japan. There are plenty of it, and they need maintenance, but no mechanic. So we said, why don't we open up an auto mechanic training school? Same system. Grameen Bank gives the education loan, they get the education, they pay the tuition, and they get trained Japanese instructors. It's a joint venture with a Japanese company. So they train these young people, they become good mechanic. Everybody's running after them to hire them. I said, it's up to you. You can take a job or you can start your own workshop. We'll finance you. Go ahead. So we train garment workers because a girl coming from the village in a garment factory, she will not get any salary because she is an apprentice, she's learning. And that learning process goes on for months, goes on for years. Garment factory owners don't pay them because you are trainee. They already know everything. It doesn't need months to do that. So what we do, we created this training school, take these girls into ours, and train everybody in every machine of the garment factory and give them a certificate. You know everything about it. Show this and say, start my salary today as you appoint me. I know everything. And they will take you a test, and you pass, and you get to start. You don't skip all those years of work without salary. You can solve that. Not heart-shattering either. One big problem came for me. Now that we have created lots of young people with education, when they come out of the college in the first wave of those people coming in, they are very agitated. They attack me, saying, why did you send us to college? And we graduated, but there's no job in the country. Bangladesh has a lot of people, a lot of young people. Half the population is under the age of 22. You can imagine how young the population is. So all these young people, no job. So I wondered what to do with them. They have a very genuine reason. Then I started looking at the issue. And then I started attacking them rather than before they attack me. The moment they say we don't have jobs, why did you send us to colleges? This education is meaningless. Then I say, who asked you to have jobs? Why did you get this idea that you have to have a job? Of course, they cannot answer that question. Did your teacher tell you to go for a job? Did you read in your books that you have to have a job? I knew they cannot answer that question. Then I wait for my turn. I say, forget about jobs. Job is a very old-fashioned idea. It should have ended in the last century because it is so useless idea. So you clean your mind and start telling yourself, I'm not a job seeker, I'm a job creator. And behave like a job creator, think like a job creator, not like a job seeker. If you're a job seeker, you feel small. You are at the mercy of another person or another group of people. You are a free person. Why should you submit yourself to the decision of other people? I said, human beings are not born to work for somebody else. They get stunned. We are supposed to have a job, get a salary, take care of ourselves. Now he says human beings are not born to work for somebody else. I said, look at the human history. Human history didn't begin with a job. Millions of years we're on this planet. When we're in the caves, we're not sending job applications from cave number 5 to cave number 10. Do you have a job for me? I'm jobless for the last 2 months. Never happened. I said, human beings are go-getters. That's our history. We are problem solvers. We took the nature and make it work for us. That's what we are. That's what we survived on this planet after all the odds. And it's in our blood. It's in our DNA. Some people figured out, forget about it. You have to work for somebody. I said, how? Why should we? What's wrong with all these millions of years of experience that we have? We suddenly take it out. I said, don't go for that. You become the one who will create jobs. You are entrepreneurs. Human beings are basically entrepreneurs. Job is a very artificial concept. They, again, listen to me. Doesn't make sense to them. I said, if you take a job at the very low end of the hierarchy because you are a new entrant. And you remember most of the jobs in the world are the job which is the end of creative powers, end of creativity. So why should you sacrifice your creativity? Human beings is packed with unlimited creative power. You're supposed to unleash that creative power, not eliminate that creative power. Job is the elimination of that creative power. All you do is repetitive things, functions, what you do. Or whatever thinking you do in a very limited way, sometimes for silly things. Has no meaning for anybody. So why should you demean yourself? So they look at me. I said, okay, we have created a social business fund. Come up with business ideas. And if you can come up with business ideas, we invest in your business, whatever that business is. And then you run that business. You become successful, and you buy back my share. The share that, because I'm an investor in your business, I own your share. You are 1%, 2% shareholders. I'm 95%, 96% shareholder. So you're successful, you buy back my share, exactly on the book value. I'm a social business. I don't want to make money out of you. My job is to help you, put you on the orbit so that you can move on. Now hundreds and thousands of young people come with their business ideas. In the beginning, they say, we don't have business idea. Then I started telling them, what? You say you don't have business idea? What school did you go? They didn't give you any business idea. What kind of education you got? Look at your mother. Your mother joined Grameen Bank 30 years back, 25 years back. She's an illiterate woman. She was scared to death to take $20, $30 from Grameen Bank to start her business. But she dared it. She took that $30 and used it and made it a successful business to return the money and took to the second loan and the third loan and 20th loan and 25th loan. That's what she did. She had business idea. If your illiterate mother has business idea and can run business, what good is your education? Throw out that education. We don't need it. Go back to your mother. Learn from her. She's the best educator you have. She will tell you ins and outs of your business. Now, 8.5 million entrepreneurs in Grameen Bank alone. In Bangladesh, there are many NGOs running microcredit. Totality would be something like 15 million. If 15 million illiterate women can show their entrepreneurship, what happened to our education system? It delete all the ideas of entrepreneurship and implant that you have to work for somebody. And that's where it went wrong in education system. Education system prides itself that we're making young people job ready. I say shame on that education. What went wrong in the financial system? Because an unemployed young person, if he or she walks into a bank, said, I have a brilliant idea of a business. Finance me. Give me the money so that I can start. They'll probably call police to get you out of the premises. Nobody will listen to you. That's not the banking system is. Banking system is something else. Not for you. Not some unemployed person. Spain has 48% youth unemployment. Italy has 30% youth unemployment, or 40% youth unemployment. And you name it. Why a young person with all this creative power sit idle doing nothing? Something terrible in the system. It's a young person. He has all the creative ideas. She has all the creative ideas, but cannot do anything. I said, the system had to put a spell on this person. You know, in the fairy tales, you have this spell, and you can't do it, you can't move. It's the same spell. System has a spell. Otherwise, why somebody should be sitting idle? There's no reason. There's a creative person, he will go move, he will change the whole world. But we call it unemployment. Unemployment is a very artificial concept, very dehumanizing concept. That concept should not exist if we turn ourselves to our original personality that we are. the entrepreneurs. So that's what the education system that I'm looking for, which will give energy to young people. They will not be coming with a piece of paper at the end of their education, so that they can take this piece of paper and touch it on the door of a company, and the door opens. Why? Because I want to serve them for the rest of my life. That's not the right education. The education system is to explore all the creative power that you have inside of you. That education system doesn't give us. They teach us what is needed by the company, what is needed by the employer. I said, I'm not a raw material for somebody to use me, and my life is wasted for them. I want to see who I am. Education system doesn't tell us who I am. They tell you what everything else is, but doesn't tell me what I am, what I'm here for. What is the purpose of my life on this planet? As a human being, what am I supposed to be doing on this planet? Education system doesn't talk about it. They say you make money, get rich. To do what? Is this the only meaning of life, that you get rich? Just bundle up money? Bundle up money is not life. Life is about what you are, what you contributed. That's what the meaning of life is. We don't discuss it in our classroom. I said, why don't you have a class where all the kids just talk about who am I, the way I feel, and they discuss among themselves. You don't need a big expert to come. And then what kind of world I would like to live in, the one that I would like to have around me. And every year they will have the exercise and write down what kind of world I want and hang it out on each person's wall. And if you just write down those ideas, what kind of world I want, just writing it down, don't have to do anything. The fact you have written it down, that world will happen. But today we don't have a picture of what kind of world we want. We get captured by this, we captured by that. We just go by the flow of things. I don't have a picture. I said, human being is about imagination. What kind of world I imagine. If I imagine the world that I want, that world will happen. If I don't imagine, I'll just drift, because I have no idea what I want. And that's the problem. And on top of that problem, many other problems comes. The problem comes because of the population in the world. It took millions of years to make the first billion on this planet. First billion, 1804, only the other day, after millions of years. First billion we reached. Next billion was reached after 123 years, 1927. It took only 123 years to have the next billion. After that, it took 33 years to have the next billion. Today, we have billion every 12 years, 11 years. We are 7.5 billion now. We came to 7 billion in 2011. In 2022, we will be 8 billion. By 2050, we'll be 50 billion, so 10 billion. So the population is rising. Every year, we're adding another nation of 100 million on top of where we are. If you put them together, that's the number we have. What are the kind of people are adding to us? Not at the rich level. It's extremely poor. They are the one crowding as they come, because they have the highest growth rate. And the world is a very funny situation. All the wealth today is concentrated in a few hands. Just a few hands, amazingly few hands. 62 people in the whole world own more wealth than the bottom half of the entire population of the world. 62 people. 6 years back, this was 308 people who had more wealth than the bottom half of the entire population. Today, it's 62. Tomorrow, it will be 60, it will be 55. Because it's getting concentrated in few hands. So when you have wealth concentrated in few hands, there is nothing in down there. And that is a continuous process. That's the most dangerous part. And that is the name of a ticking bomb. Frustrated people at the bottom. You see here, you explain here, you see political problems, people are frustrated, they don't have, because they don't get anything. This all goes there. Who is facilitating this? Banking system is one. Conceptual framing is another one. Because everybody else will be working and they will be making money. Whoever they are, 62 people. We work for them. We're the mercenaries. We're the mercenaries for people to make money. So we volunteer ourselves at their disposal. If we go back to our original shape, which we are, the entrepreneurs, we'll create our own wealth. We don't have to go and get whatever they will give us. We compete with them because we're entrepreneurs. We need financial system to support it. Our financial system is designed in a way for the benefit of the top, not for the bottom. So that's education that we have to come in, understand what we want, what our concept, why social business makes sense, and then comes the technology. Technology can change everything overnight, and it will. In the next 10 years, 15 years, world will be completely different situation. But different for good or different for bad? That's the issue. If we keep on doing the same thing, the ticking bomb working, it will be worse. So we have a time now, address our education system to make things differently, think things differently. People thinking, finding their own worth, own role in this planet, what they want to be. And I put this into 3 zeros so that I define my objective, what I want to do, and share with everybody when I meet these young people. I said I have 3 zeros. Zero number 1, zero poverty in the world. Nobody should be poor because nothing wrong with human being. So we change everything around us so that all the things can be created so that I can come out of the prison called poverty. There's no reason why anybody in state charity. There's nothing wrong with the people who are in state charity. They are full-fledged human beings. Release them, free them, so that they become contributors, they become entrepreneurs, and the economy changes completely. Second zero, zero unemployment. There's no reason why anybody unemployed. There's nothing wrong. All we have to do, go ahead and do things. Our creative mind will come out millions and billions of ideas. But we are not doing that. We are just saying that follow the yellow line, follow the blue line, and that's what we do in our life. Human beings are not here to follow the yellow lines and blue lines. We are the defined people. We do things our own way. And that's what the fun of being a human being. And that's what social business brings it to you. Open it up. Be creative. Solve problems. You are a problem solver. You are a go-getter. That's a human being. And I say, the word unemployment should become unemployed. We have no use for it. Third zero, zero net carbon emission. Again, we made a mess by creating economy on the basis of fossil fuel and all the thing. And we in Bangladesh become the victim of that. Global warming and our water coming into our land and throwing us out from our own land and so on, that kind of thing. It doesn't have to be. It's all about us deciding what kind of life we want. Responsible life to the planet, and life changes. So that net zero emission is the third zero. And once we can reach that, we'll have to reach that. By 2030, we can make it zero poverty. And similarly, we can zero unemployment by 2040. And then 2050, zero net carbon emission. We can do that. It's all question, it's here. Is everybody thinks that way? We'll behave like that and make it happen. Young people are ready to do that if education system will tell them what to do. Tell them that options, not what to do. Give them all the options. Let them choose. They are smart enough. They are very smart people. I tell them that they are the most powerful young generation in the human history because of the technology that they come up with. So this is the generation. And once we can do that, then we create the foundation of a new civilization. This civilization is a disaster because of the greed. We have to get out of the this greed-based civilization, come out with the human values-based civilization, where we share, we care, we build our own world where everybody's active, everybody's creative, everybody contributes. And that's the new civilization, the image of that civilization that we should be teaching the young people to think of. Not you don't create one, they will create their own so that they can create their new civilization. And that's the goal that we keep in front of us. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.